Hello, please. Good evening.
Good evening.
Please,
Yeah,
four.
good evening.
It's 4 o'clock now. Let's permit those who are here to join some 2 minutes to join, and then we kick start. Is that fine?
Sure,
Hello.
sure.
Yes, please. All right.
Sure.
Okay, I think it's 4-3. Please kindly tell your friends it's time and then we can get going. And today we'll have a good time. Elisha too is online and then we'll be um, moderating the program together. So I'm sure you'd enjoy today's session. Please invite other people to join.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Is can
Hello.
okay. Okay, I can be.
So we can
Oh, hello.
Okay.
All right. Please, good evening. Hello, good evening, everyone.
Oh, good evening.
I humbly welcome you to today's session of the panel discussion on essential soft skills for workplace success. My name is Elisha Supio, and I am your moderator for today. Today's session promises to be a great one and an interesting one. So let's kindly sit gently, or let's sit with all our attention on today's program, and I promise you will enjoy it. I promise you will enjoy it. Thank you very much. Yeah, so without further ado, I would like to introduce the guest speakers for today's session. And in no particular order, we have Engineer Priscilla Obenkonadu, and she is a passionate and result-driven professional civil engineer and certified project management professional with a strong track record of driving projects from concept to completion with precision, integrity, and attention to detail. Currently, she serves as an assistant director and company secretary at ADK Consortium, where she plays a pivotal role in ensuring project delivery with established management principles and client expectations. In addition to her role at ADK, she is honored to serve as the secretary of the Accra chapter of the Ghana Institute of Engineering, contributing to development and promotion of engineering excellence in Ghana. She is also an active member of Project Management Institute, where she continues to grow her expertise in applying globally recognized standards and practices in project execution. with a keen interest in the full project life cycle, from initiation and planning to execution, monitoring and closure. She is committed to promoting best practices that ensure efficiency, accountability, and sustainable outcomes. Her leadership, coordination, and communication skills have enabled her to thrive in diverse teams and complex project environments. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Engineer Priscilla Obeng Konadu. And we are glad and grateful to have her being our guest speaker for today's session. Also, we have Engineer Timothy Kofi Ametefe. And he is a civil engineer and researcher committed to advancing sustainable and durable construction practices in Africa and beyond. He currently serves as the head of the Civil Engineering Laboratory at the CSIR Building and Road Research Institute, where he leads pioneering work in concrete technology, structural integrity assessment, and construction material innovation. He holds an MPhil in structural engineering and is an assistant research scientist at CSIR BRRI, where he works bridges, where his work bridges cutting-edge research with practical engineering application. His expertise spans a broad spectrum of structural engineering, including sustainable cementitious systems, self-consolidating concrete, life cycle analysis, and the repair and rehabilitation of concrete infrastructure. He is also well-versed in the application of both non-destructive and destructive evaluation techniques for structural integrity assessment of existing structures. Engineer Ametefe is a proud member of the Ghana Institute of Engineering and the International Union of Laboratories, an expert in construction materials, systems, and structures, which reflects his global outlook and engagement with leading-edge research communities in civil engineering and material science. In recognition for his exemplary contributions to engineering, research, and practice, he was honored with the Outstanding Engineering Knowledge and Exemplary Achievement at the 2023 Engineering Excellence Awards organized by the Ghana Institute of Engineering. With a strong portfolio of technical consultancy, field investigations, and laboratory research, Engineer Ametefe has provided critical structural assessment on major infrastructure projects across Ghana and West Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Engineer Timothy Kofi Ametefe. Please, are we together? Hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Also, we have Mr. Emmanuel Adwini Safo, and he is an associate in KPMG's International Development Advisory Services in Ghana, where he serves as a junior finance professional for the Global Funds Local Fund Agents, LFA projects. In his role, he contributes to financial and pragmatic oversight by conducting assessments and verification to ensure compliance, efficiency, and impact across global funded health initiatives in Ghana. His expertise spans expenditure verification, financial analysis, risk assessment, and quality assurance in public health programs. Prior to joining KPMG, Emmanuel completed his national service at the KNUST e-learning center, where he managed content on the learning management system, facilitated virtual learning, and supported digital literacy initiatives for faculty and students. He holds a bachelor's degree in business administration with a specialization in business information technology. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Emmanuel Adwini Safo. Unfortunately, today we are not able to have Ebenezer Edu Asare in our midst. He's engaged in other equally important matters somewhere, which he wouldn't be able to join us. But I believe his wishes are with us. Yes, thank you very much for listening to the profiles of these great ones.
So be in their action of
Please,
how good the has
yes, thank you very much. Let's move on to please give me 30 seconds. I'm coming.
Okay, so in the meantime, please invite friends to join. So today, one of our young moderators will be moderating for us, and that's Elisha Supi. I'm sure you all.
physical was
Okay. Are we ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, then I think that we can continue. Once he comes back
so
out.
critical was the situation that
Yes, so let's
Yes, please. So I'm back. Thank you very much. I'm back now. We move on to the next item on our item list. And I would like to invite our guest speakers to tell us something small about themselves in addition to what I said about them. So I would like to start with Engineer Priscilla Oben Konadu. Please, the floor is yours, Engineer Priscilla. Tell us something about yourself.
Right. Thank you very much, Elisha, for the introduction. And so in addition to what Elijah said, I'm currently working on the dualization of the Accra-Kumasi Highway, specifically the Konongo bypass. And then also construction of offices and multi-purpose halls for Parliament of Ghana. I'm also a businesswoman. I sell shawarma, and I am also a safety enthusiast. I have a page where I sensitize people about safety on our roads. Yes, so that's a little about me in addition to what was said. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Priscilla Oben. I see you are a packed woman. You have a lot of things to do, and then you are doing a lot of things as well. We hope to learn a lot from you today. Thank you very much once again.
You're welcome.
Please, I'd like to hear from Engineer Timothy Kofi Ametefe. Please could you tell us something small about yourself in addition to what I said?
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for the opportunity. For the introduction, you did very good justice to it. I think you've covered everything about me. And I just want to add that I'm a music lover. I enjoy playing the musical instruments and also listening to music. And then some few gaming stuff aside the work life. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Timothy Kofi Omotofe. In fact, we'll be glad to come to you for tutorials on how to play musical instruments, since you like music. Thank you very much for adding that information.
You're welcome.
Please, I would like to hear from Mr. Emmanuel Adwini Safo. Please, could you tell us something small about yourself in addition to what I said?
All right, thank you, Elisha. So, aside the information you've already given about me, I'd also like to talk a bit more about what I do with regards to my role. So, I work at KPMG, specifically in the advisory function. So, the unit I am in is the International Development Advisory Services, where our work is centered around assisting our clients, which are mainly developmental agencies. So we could think of the World Bank, the AFDB, the Global Fund, and others. So we assist them in the management of their programs, whether it's at the design stage, implementation, or monitoring and evaluation. So aside my work, I enjoy going out, I enjoy swimming, and also one final thing I'll say, I'm an avid soccer lover. So that's a bit something about me. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel Safo. All right, so we move on to the next item on our item list. All right, now I would like to start with Engineer Priscilla Obeng-Konadu. I would like to know how an entry-level professional can learn to communicate confidently with supervisors or in meetings where they may feel intimidated. You know, entry-level professionals sometimes do have that kind of low confidence in whatever they want to do. So how can they improve on that? So Engineer Priscilla Obeng-Konadu, please, can you start for us?
Okay, sure. Thank you, Elijah. Elisha, sorry.
Yes, please, can you put on your video? We want to see your face.
Right. Am I being seen? I don't know.
Yes, please, we can see you.
Okay, sure. All right. To start off with, you should know your content and whatever that you are trying to put across, especially in meetings. You already know what the meeting is about. I'm sure prior to the meeting, there were invites. So you know you know the subject of the meeting. And then you know the discussions that are going to go on in the meetings. So what you need to do as an entry-level professional is to research on that topic or whatever that is going to be discussed. Come prepared with your facts and your clear talking points, so that in case you are asked for your opinion, you are able to share your thoughts. And then before that, you should also write the key points that you would want to talk about or you've noted. Say They are going to talk about road safety. What are some of the things that contribute to pedestrians crossing the road safely? You have all those pointers down so that when the discussion is going on, or you are having a discussion with the supervisor, you are able to communicate something, say something meaningful. For confidence, I'll say that it's something that you need to start small and build up. Nobody started confident. You're going to practice it. It comes as you practice and as you go along. And sometimes you have smaller meetings. Say maybe you have a meeting with your boss, maybe you have a meeting, a 3-person meeting, a 3-member meeting, a 4-member meeting. In those meetings, that's where you can, polish your skills so that when you are called into bigger meetings, you are able to share your opinions and then, have fruitful discussions. So I would say that for confidence, you should practice it as and when you go. It will come with time and it's not going to be easy. Sometimes you need to observe and learn from your supervisor, your direct boss. Sometimes they give us hints, but then because we are not paying attention, we don't notice the hints they give us. So sometimes pay attention to your boss, the way they talk, the way, they carry themselves, and then you can be able to, you know that this time, in the mornings, he's busy and he's busy with calls, and if I go with my situation, he would, shout at me and all that. So you need to study all that and then know that, okay, let me wait. Maybe at 12 p.m. when he's eating, then I can go there and talk to him and all that. So you need to observe and learn your boss and know when it's appropriate for you to go to him or her with some discussions. Yes, so that's what I'll say. So one, you need to know your content, know your stuff, and research, have your pointers down about the meeting before you go into the meeting. You don't go there having no knowledge about anything, but you want to talk. That is not right. You'll be given prior notice, so you prepare before meetings. And then how to confidently deal with your supervisors. You should observe them, learn from them, know when to act, know when to approach them, and I think you would be fine. So that's a little I'll say. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Priscilla, for that insight. I learned a lot of things from what she just said. However, she made some points which I want to reiterate. And then she said we should know our content. Yeah, so what happens to most of us sometimes is that you don't prepare before the day of your presentation or the time you would do a particular activity. And all of a sudden you go there and then we seem unprepared. So she said we should know our content before the time is due, we prepare beforehand. And she also mentioned that we should start confidence by ourselves. Sometimes confidence is not generated from outside, it's generated from within. In fact, thank you very much once again, Engineer Priscilla, for that insight. So I'll move on to Engineer Timothy Kofi Ametefe. And I want to know how effective communication looks like in a professional setting, especially for someone just starting out. So Engineer Timothy Kofi Ametefe. The floor is
Okay. All right. So when we talk about effective communication, it involves listening actively and attentively, asking thoughtful questions, speaking clearly and concisely, and giving and receiving feedback gracefully. In a professional setting, you need to pay full attention when someone is speaking, and you have to avoid interruptions. And Engineer Priscilla mentioned that you need to put down your thoughts Yes, you need to structure your thoughts very well before you speak. And the use of professional language is very, very key. It's very, very important, especially during meetings and or presentations. Yes. And then you shouldn't hesitate to ask for clarity and further details. You need to make sure that whatever was communicated to you, you fully understand whatever you were told to do or the task that was given to you. Yes. And you should be open to feedback too. Yeah, feedback is something that is very key in effective communication. So you should be very open to feedback. And then when you are criticized, don't take it too personally. Yes, don't take it too personally, and be constructive and courteous when giving feedbacks too. Yes, and you should also be mindful of nonverbal cues like the tonation and then the facial expressions, as they can change the message that you want to carry out entirely. And in writing emails to your messages that you send should be very concise, clear, and well structured as well. So, in summary, in a professional setting, the effectiveness of your communication involves the listening aspect, and then seeking clarity for whatever you are asked to do, and also speaking clearly and then giving feedbacks gracefully. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Timothy, for that great insight. You mentioned that we shouldn't take criticisms personal, and that's what most of us have been battling with. When we have been corrected or when someone gives us correction, we tend to take it in a different light, and that actually impedes our efficiency at workplace. So thank you very much, Engineer Kofi Ametefe, for that great submission. I would like to move on to Mr. Emmanuel Adwini Sapo, and I want to know what are some practical ways to contribute to a team, even if you are new or you feel like the least experienced person in that room. So, Mr. Emmanuel Adwini Sapo, please, the floor is yours.
Right. Thank you, Elisha. So, on to your question, how to contribute if you feel you are a new person in the team. So, first off, I would say is to listen and learn, because as a new joiner or new professional, you're not expected to know everything. So, your role is really to learn the best from your superiors and try and mirror whatever they do, obviously the positive ones. Yes. So as a new professional, that is what your job really is. Your job is to go into meetings, so try to observe, to learn as much as possible. And in so doing, you should try and, like, let's say, ask meaningful questions, questions that will get your bosses thinking as to whether you really know what you're about, whether you want to really learn. So, incorporating all those, I think it's important as a new professional. Yes. So that is it basically.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel, for your submission. You made mention that we should learn from our superiors. I think it's very paramount that we do so, because before you get to where you already have someone who has been there for a couple of years or months, who knows better than you, and we need to actually learn from them. Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel, once again for your submission. I move on to the next item, and the question goes to all the guest speakers. However, I will start with Engineer Priscilla Obeng, and I want to know, can can someone share an experience where teamwork helped you succeed? So can any of the guest speakers, or I want to hear from each of you, if you could share an experience where teamwork helped you succeed or fail, and what can the new professionals do from that, or what can we learn from that? Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I'll start since you mentioned my name first. So there was a time when I joined my company, I think a year into joining, we had this design project that we were working on, and we had to stay in the office for long hours, working overtime, and even sometimes working on the weekends because the project was under a strict and tight deadline. So we had to, all come together and then try and get the project done. But then when we started, there were some communication gaps, some expectations were not clear, and then they were creating some delays. So we had to re-strategize and then assign roles, proper roles, to ourselves, to the team. And then one thing that as a team we did was to adapt, because it wasn't the normal way of working. You work maybe say 8 hours and then you close, but then this one we're going beyond 8 hours. So as a team, we all decided to come together, adapt to the new situation, and then work to achieve the goal. So we were goal focused, and then it was under pressure, but then we knew we had to do it. And then after that, we can come back to our normal working hours. So as a team, we came together, set clear responsibilities, and then we had to adapt to that change in the interim. So yes, so that was that's one experience that I would like to share. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Priscilla. Please, I want to hear from Engineer Timothy Kofi. Please, could you also share with us?
Okay, so for teamwork plays a very crucial role in the delivery of projects. Most tasks require collective efforts, and hence the ability to collaborate effectively with colleagues, including those from different backgrounds or disciplines, is very, very essential. I was on a project which involved the two main water treatment plants in the Ashanti region, where a structural audit was conducted on the Barakese and Owabi dams. So the scope included the hydrological survey of the catchment area of the dams, visual examination of the physical infrastructure of the dams, and then some destructive and non-destructive analysis of the concrete from the dam. Now,
Hello.
Yes.
the
Yes, please, Engineer Timothy. It seems we lost you along the line. Could you repeat what you said in the past 1 minute?
Oh,
Yes, please.
my internet.
Yes, please. Unfortunately, we lost you along the line.
Okay, let me check my provider.
Yes, but right now it's okay. So you can go ahead.
Okay, so I was talking about the work that involved a hydrological survey and some integrity assessment of the two dams we have in Kumasi that supply water for the Ashanti region, which are the Barakese Dam and then the Owabi Dam. And I said that there were 3 different teams that were handling each scope, and I was the team lead in charge of the structural material integrity assessment. And I mentioned that we had to use both destructive and non-destructive techniques to carry out our task. But although I am a structural engineer, I wasn't really part of the team that was handling the structural stability of the dams. So I had to liaise with the one who was in charge of that aspect. And we had to discuss a lot and reach an agreement on where to employ these destructive techniques to extract samples to the laboratory for the safety of the dam. Also, within my team, I had individuals handling specific tests in the laboratory, which required different sizes and conditioning of samples. Now, without teamwork, executing the task would have been difficult because the teamwork helped us prevent risk and ensure the safety of the dams. Also, because there was a clear role allocation within the team, the efficiency of the team was increased by ensuring that every test had the right sample in the right condition for the test to be carried out. Also, through frequent discussions and updates and joint decision makings, we ensured that everyone's contribution fitted into the bigger picture, and through that, we were able to achieve our goal. So for entry-level professionals, one thing that I will highlight is even if you are very skilled in your domain, projects don't succeed through isolated works. Yes, we have to always collaborate across disciplines, and through that you'll be able to learn more, avoid errors that can cost you so much, and you can also contribute more meaningfully. And also, we don't wait for confusion to arise. You need to regularly check in with your supervisors, with your colleagues, and also avoid misalignment. Yes. And it is also essential that you respect the role that every team member plays, whether in your team or in another team. Every individual who has been placed on the project brings value. So you have to respect everybody's contribution. And through that, you can create a positive and then a productive environment. And we also have to learn to adjust plans without compromising quality or safety. Engineer Priscilla mentioned about compromising working long hours, overtimes, and all that. You have to learn to adjust your plans. Yes, for that, the industry, I don't know, maybe because we are both from the same industry, that's why we are relating. But I am sure it cuts across. Whenever there is deadlines to meet, definitely there will be the demand to compromise on some of your plans and also make adjustments. But make sure that you don't compromise on quality or safety, and then you need to focus on the solutions and then the obstacles as a team. In so doing, you'll be able to achieve success. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Timothy, for this great submission. We would like to also hear from Mr. Emmanuel Albinisapo. Mr. Emmanuel, the floor is yours.
So thank you, Elisha. So an experience that I'd like to share, right? So there was a task, there was a deliverable that was assigned to a team, and due to conflicting work, we decided it would be best to sort of leave it out such that we would execute it getting to when the deadline was due, because we thought it was something that we were familiar with. But then fast forward to when the time was approaching to finally deliver in the work, and we realized that the work wasn't as straightforward as we thought. It wasn't as easy as we had imagined. So then we had to really struggle in that moment to sort of come out with a solution to the work, because at that point, disappointing was not an option because we had committed to delivering within a particular time. And in so doing, at the moment in time, we were really not lost as to how we're going to go about and finish it. But then in that moment, we're able to get into a mode where we try to analyze it, try and look at it from a first principles angle to try and really see what, let me say, an approach that could be used in solving the problem. And in a moment, we're able to. And when I look back at it, it really took the genius of multiple people, because in some situations, if it was a single person on that task, it would have been difficult because you needed other team members. For one person to suggest an idea, another person to hook on to it, and in the end, somehow you manage to figure it out. So I would say having a team around you, working in a team, is always beneficial because there's always an angle that you are not looking at, that someone else is looking at, and that someone else might not even necessarily have the final answer to it, but somebody bringing something up and another person catching on. I think it's important in helping solve problems everywhere. So the lessons from that I would say is obviously not to wait until deadlines because that's a very dangerous venture. But then also to learn to ask questions, try to drill deep to the fundamental principles, and at the end of the day, doing all this in a team setting should help you overcome almost anything. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel Adwin Isapo, for your submission. Please, let me start from you again, Mr. Emmanuel. I want to know, how should the young professionals prioritize tasks when everything feels urgent, especially in fast-paced environments? The question again is, how can young professionals prioritize tasks when everything feels urgent, especially in fast-paced environments? So, Mr. Emmanuel, please, could you do us the honors to answer this for us, please?
All right, thank you, Elisha. So an answer I'll give to this question is to, first of all, in situations such as this, what you have to learn to do is to learn to manage expectations, because at the end of the day, you might be given multiple tasks by multiple superiors, for instance, and they would all expect you to deliver. But at the same time, too, they might not be aware of the other tasks that have been given to you by other superiors. So you trying to juggle it and all, what you might end up doing is you might end up under delivering on some task in order to deliver on other tasks. So what you have to do is you have to learn how to manage expectations. So what that involves is to properly communicate to whoever is giving you your task, to try to say, okay, so I've been given 3 or 2 tasks that I'm currently on, and those have currently taken over my time. So adding on this new task would affect the output of the others. And I'm sure every manager is reasonable and would see to it that maybe, for instance, they can assign the task to another work colleague who is less engaged or something. So learning to manage people's expectations is very important. And also, that is not to say you shouldn't try to not take on more than one task at a time. It also shows how you're able to navigate the work world as a professional. So up to, let's say, a manageable amount of tasks, you should try to also do that to help with your competence rating, right? So you could attempt to juggle a few tasks that you know would not affect the output of the others. You could try to break down complex tasks try to assign a sort of importance to them, to say maybe this one is due in a week, this one is due in a month. So obviously you know which one to do first and all that. So these are ways I would say that help you to cope in an environment where you feel you might have a lot of tasks on you. So thank you, Elisha.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel. We should learn to manage expectations. Thank you so much for your submission once again. I would also like to hear from Engineer Priscilla Obeng. I want to know, how would you define professionalism for someone just entering the workforce, and how can it be demonstrated daily? Engineer Priscilla Obeng, please.
Okay. All right. So I'd say professionalism is a set of say behaviors or attitudes that demonstrates a person's commitment to doing their work with excellence. And so if you want to do your work excellently, what are some of the things that you think would help you? One is, not in any particular order, but then one is punctuality. I know many of us have gone to interviews where they give you a time that, oh, be here by 10 a.m. And meanwhile, the interview itself is going to start at 12. That is not right, because it means they don't respect your time. Being punctual shows that you respect others' time. Time is money, as we know it. So being on time for work, for meetings, meeting deadlines is actually showing respect for other people's time. And many of us have been to government agencies where you go there and then it's like nothing works. You want to meet somebody today, they'll be like, oh, the person is not yet in, the person comes at any time they want. And you as an individual, you are very frustrated. You see how punctuality is very, very important. So punctuality is very, very important. As a professional, you should not joke with punctuality, because you will never know when it will come in handy for you. The other thing is confidentiality and then integrity. The next thing I want to talk about is confidentiality and integrity. There are some jobs that you do that you have to handle information responsibly, especially our colleagues in the finance industry. They have lots of information that shouldn't come out. Even in the same organization, if you're in the accounts department, there's some information that is not supposed to come out and all that. And it's one thing. I'm the company secretary for my my company, and I'm the secretary for my company. And then there are some things that are discussed during management meetings that I cannot come out and come and tell my friends because they are my friends. No, it is not right. It shows that, because when you are going, when I was being when I was being brought into the board, I had to swear an oath. And you do not break things like that just because you have friends there and then you want to tell them everything. Confidentiality and integrity is very key when it comes to professions. And it is very unethical to reveal some information to people that are not supposed to hear those information. So it's very, very key. The next thing I would like to talk about is presentation. How do you dress when you come to work? That's what I mean. I am in the construction industry, and then I cannot wear high heels to the site. You have to dress appropriately for the work environments that you find yourself. I cannot go and wear safety boots and helmets in a bank. So let's learn to dress appropriately for our roles and then our work environments. The next thing I want to also talk about is accountability. Sometimes we all make mistakes. We are all not perfect. Some of us do not own up to our mistakes. When we make a mistake, we want to apportion blame to this. Oh no, it wasn't me. And Kawe the way bantema. If this person had brought this early, oh, if I had received this early, I would have no. Sometimes genuinely you know that you are at fault. You should be accountable, own up to your mistakes. Nobody is going to take a cane and then cane you. So let's have that in mind. And also, we should always have a positive attitude towards work. You know, working in corporates can become boring because it's always routine. It's a routine work. You wake up, come to work, you are like you are doing everything again over and over and over again. Sometimes you get tired and all that, but then you should still have a positive attitude and approach towards things. And the other thing is respectful communication. I think Timothy touched on that. Communication is very, very important. How we talk to people, even the security and the cleaner in your organization. Trust me, some of them know things that even the manager does not know. So we should accord respect to every single person in your organization, from the security to the cleaner, to everybody. You should accord respect to them. And then one thing that we as Africans and Ghanaians, we don't like doing is we don't like to learn. We do not like to learn. If you are a professional who does not like to learn, I'm sorry, but you will be extinct, because things are coming in every day. And every day there's something new coming up. So what are you doing to stay relevant? So as a professional, daily you should learn something. If not in your industry, administratively, in other departments, what can I learn? Because I know maybe some of us would not like to do one particular thing for a very long time. So the more you learn, the more you grow. You get to know a lot of things, and then you can occupy spaces that your friends or your colleagues cannot occupy because you just learned something. So sometimes go beyond the normal. So I am an engineer. I can go to my architect friends, learn one or two from them, go to the quantity surveyor. Oh, how do you estimate and all that? How do you price? How do you bill for this and all that? You can learn all these things. And then it will help you, because in the long run, if they're going to look for a technical director for your company, they want somebody who is all round. They don't want somebody who only knows engineering, because the technical department is not just about engineering. It's about architects coming together, mechanical engineering coming together, electrical engineering coming together. So let's learn. We should constantly learn. We shouldn't say, oh, I've done 4 years in school. I've done my 2 years master's. I've done my 1 year master's. Oh, I want to do a four-year PhD. So after that, oh, I'm done with the learning and all that. By the time you finish school, I mean, when you start let's say you start your master's 2025, and you're going to end in 2026. I bet you whatever you started learning from 2025, by the time you get to 2026, it has changed. So let us not be complacent. Let's always learn, ask questions. If you don't know something, ask questions, and then you'll be fine. So this is just something a little that I'll say about professionalism. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Priscilla, for your comprehensive submission. You did mention that we should learn to be punctual, confident. That's confidentiality. We should dress properly, and that's one of the major things you have to take note of: dressing properly. And you also mentioned of positive attitude towards work. Thank you very much once again, engineer. We also want to hear from Engineer Timothy. We want to know what tools or habits have helped you to stay organized and meet demands and deadlines. Yeah, so what are the tools or habits that have helped you to meet deadlines consistently? Thank you.
Okay. For talk more about habits, yours and strategizing. Without having a plan, you will just do things anyhow, and meeting deadlines will be very, very difficult for you. So one habit that I picked up growing up is proper planning and then strategizing. What I do is I review my to-do list frequently. Always visiting my to-do list. I have to do this, I have to do that. I review it frequently to set the top priorities. Which task has to be completed within the next hour, within the next day. So the constant reviews and all that has been helping me to plan and then strategize. Now, I also make sure that after setting those priorities, you don't just set the priorities and then you sleep. No, you need to make sure that you work. So after planning, people do plans and put them on the wall or on their screen, and that's no. You have to be diligent in your work and make sure that if you've set deadlines for specific tasks, you are able to complete them, and before maybe the day ends or whatever deadline that you set for yourself. Now, in executing these tasks, what I usually do is I try as much as possible to break them down. So if, for instance, I'm supposed to do this particular thing, I'll just break it down to the simplest or the smallest form of steps and then mini deadlines. For instance, if I'm supposed to provide a report on maybe an integrity assessment that we run, maybe you go to site, you go and bring samples, you go and do in-situ assessments and all that. You need to set deadlines for yourself. Can we be able to finish these tasks within a day or two a week? Setting all those deadlines, then we come back to the decks and plan. Okay, what can we do simultaneously? Then we try to put them together. Whilst this person is doing this, the other person will be doing that. Okay, for this task, we have to work together as a team. So why don't we do this first today, then move on to this? So from the planning state, then you break the task down to the smaller steps that you can achieve within the mini deadlines. Then, for instance, if I'm supposed to write the report, I can just say, okay, so I have, let's say, 5 days more to submit the report. Today, I'm supposed to write the introduction. Maybe I'll write the introduction from morning to lunchtime. Then that becomes a very small step that I have to take, and then a mini deadline that I've set for myself. So in so doing, I'll be able to sit down, check my time. Last time is around 12:30. It means I have to sit and make sure I finish before I go for lunch. Yes, so some of these things that I've been doing have been really helpful in achieving or meeting deadlines. And also, I try to set deadline that I've been given, so that if there are any edits or reviews or even emergency such that I'm not able to work on the report or something like I give, for example, I'll be able to still meet the deadline that has been given to me. And one important thing is also learning to say no politely. Yes. You know you have a schedule, you have a deadlines to meet, and you keep on accepting tasks that you can just reject, and then it will go to a different person. Yeah, so you have to learn how to say no politely. It's not like in a disrespectful way or complaining, accepting and then complaining and talking. No, no, no. Your superiors are human beings. Yes, and if you are able to make a case, you are supposed to do this, and that within this stipulated time. And any reasonable person will know that, oh, okay, then I can't burden you with this additional tax. So you go ahead and finish this before maybe I find a different person to do this for me, or when you finish, then you do it. So I think those habits that really helped me to meet my deadlines consistently. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Timothy, for your submission. We should learn to say no, and also we should plan and review our to-do list, and that will help us at our workplaces. Thank you very much once again, Engineer Timothy. We want to hear from Engineer Timothy. Please, can you continue for us? We want to hear from you. With workplaces constantly evolving, how can entry-level professionals show they are adaptable without compromising their boundaries or values? So how can new entrants into the workplaces or entry-level professionals show that they are adaptable without compromising their boundaries? Engineer Timothy.
Okay. Okay. Adaptability. Yeah, adaptability doesn't really mean you have to abandon your boundaries. It's actually means you have to evolve while you are staying anchored in your boundaries or your values. Yes. You can be very flexible in how you work, but you need to stay firm on what matters most. Yeah, your time, your values, integrity. These are values that you don't have to joke with. Yes, because if you play with your values or you play with your integrity, in the long run, it will come back to haunt you. Yes. You need to be open to change, yes, but not to everything. You need to be open to change, but not to everything. You need to be willing to learn new skills, like Priscilla mentioned. It's very, very, very important. Learning will make you stay relevant. If you are not someone who is a continuous learner, it will get to a point your relevance wouldn't be felt. And in the job market now, it's about relevance. It's about your value. So if you are not willing to learn new skills, for instance, in the engineering field, we have these softwares coming up. If you want to still going about with your manual way of doing things, you'll get to a point where you'll be outmoded and your services wouldn't be sought for in the industry again. So the willingness to learn new skills is very, very important. Adjusting processes and then contributing outside your comfort zone without within like reasonable zones. Yes, it's very, very important that you try as much as possible to adjust your processes. Don't be stiff-necked. Like, this is how I've been taught to do it. This is how we've been doing it. So you can't change it. No. You should be ready to adjust processes and also leave your comfort zone reasonably. Yes. And also, you don't have to say yes to everything. I've already mentioned that. So though you are adapting to
the evolving industry. You don't have to say yes to everything. Not that, oh, just change this resource for us and take this envelope, and you say, okay, because you are trying to adjust your processes. No. And then you can set boundaries without being sounding resistant. Boundaries are boundaries. We are told to respect boundaries, but boundaries do not make you resistant. It's just your values that you are upholding to. So it is good to set boundaries, and you wouldn't be sounding resistant. It actually shows professionalism. Yes. So be adaptable to how you work, not compromising what you stand for. If you don't stand for something, you will definitely fall for anything. So you should have values that you stand for. You should have precepts that you adhere to. At least you should know and stand for the ethical values of your profession. And if once you are holding on to those ethical values, there is no way somebody will point out that no, you are not adapting to the current trends. For ethics and then values, they are some things that we cannot compromise on. But when it comes to processes and then comfort zones, we can outstretch ourselves a little and then adjust to the new trends. And then we shouldn't pretend to know everything. Yes, Engineer Priscilla had touched on the learning. Yes, we should be curious and learn in humility. Very, very important. As you learn, you should be learning in humility. And that is what is going to help you to adapt easily in the industry without abandoning your boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Timothy. You made mention that we should be willing to learn new skills. And you also mentioned that we should have boundaries or set boundaries. However, adaptability doesn't mean we should abandon our values. Thank you very much once again, Engineer Timothy. I would like to move on to Mr. Emmanuel Awinisapo. Please, we want to hear from you. We wanted to share a time when you had a pivot quickly, or when you had to pivot quickly or learn something new under pressure. This is going to Mr. Emmanuel Awinisapo. Is there a time, or can you share with us a time when you had a pivot, when you had to pivot quickly, or you learned something new under pressure, and how did you manage it? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Elisha. So I would go back to a time where there was a time, right, where we had to undertake a task for a client, and we went in there with certain assumptions as to the scope of the assignment, really, and getting into it and starting the work, we quickly realized that there were some faulty assumptions in there. And in that moment, remember, you have committed to deliver for the client, and you having your own stuff not worked out is not an excuse to deliver, because remember, the client has paid for your services, and at the end of the day, they expect whatever value that they are paid for. So then quickly we had to re-strategize, rework our working papers, make sure that everything had to be on point. And amidst all of this, we have to maintain our professionalism, because you don't go to a client and say, "Oh, I didn't properly strategize or think this through, so can you give us some time?" Because Your professionalism is what speaks to you as a professional, that your client has the faith in you. And within that point in time, you have to come up with entirely new working papers, made sure to adjust it to exactly to the client's requirements. And at the end of the day, we had to deliver. We delivered, and indeed, the work earned a lot of praise. So, as a professional, there are situations whereby you might not exactly have your A game, but then in the heat of the moment, at that point, how you manage it, how you turn it around, how to keep your professionalism throughout the entire process is what really counts at the end of the day. So that is an experience I would share on that. Thank you,
Okay.
Elisha.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel, for sharing that moment with us. I want to hear from Engineer Priscilla Obeng. We would like to know, in your previous presentation, you mentioned that proper dressing is very important, or dressing appropriately, or presenting ourselves well at the workplace is very important. So we would like to know, how is this important in shaping how an entry-level employees are perceived? And the appearance, our appearance, our language, online presence, how does all this help in shaping how entry-level employees are perceived? Engineer Priscilla, please, the floor is yours. Hello, Engineer Priscilla. Okay, it seems she's not readily available at the moment, or probably her network would be bad. So please, can I hear from, or can we hear from Engineer Timothy? Please, could you help us understand that how important is self-presentation? That's appearance, our language, our online presence. How can it shape how entry-level employees are perceived? Engineer Timothy.
Okay. Please, am I audible?
Yes, please, you are.
Okay. So, online presence and appearance, language talks a lot about an individual. Most of the times, for young people, what we usually think is that, oh, the online or social media is a different world altogether. So I can put up this behavior here, and then in real life, that's not me. Yes, that's the perception that most of us young people have now. Unfortunately, that is not accurate. Our presence on online is speaks a lot to let me say industry players, because there are even some organizations which even for your during the interview process, they can still ask for your social media handles and do their own background checks. So you might think that, oh, this is just Facebook, this is just Twitter or X. So I'm just living life anyhow there, doing all kind of things. But somebody might be very interested in that aspect of your life, because some organizations would want to uphold their employees at a certain level where their influence, both online and in person, should be appropriate. So your presence online is very, very important. So you shouldn't say that, oh, you will stay in your shell and not post anything, not like anything, not join any social media. No, the world is evolving. Social media is now part of the world, so you should be present there. However, you need to be mindful of what you do there, the language you use there, the things you like, the things you comment on the things you share on your wall and all that. You need to be very mindful because it speaks subtly about you. Yes. And also in appearance, Engineer Priscilla mentioned about how we dress and all that. You need to always, so if you find dreadlocks is not a problem for guys, or you dress anyhow and nobody will say anything, or you not be perceived in any way, you can go ahead and do that if you want to do. But if you find yourself in a setting where there is this perception about certain looks and all that, do yourself an honor and don't just do anything. Yes, just dress how the setting you find yourself in seems to be appropriate, and just flow. If you become the CEO of your own company and you want to come to work in boxer shorts and singlets, nobody will question you. Nobody will say anything. You are the boss. You are the CEO. That's how you want to appear, present yourself. But if your superior is someone who is very, very mindful of official, you need to dress official, and you come to work looking anyhow, you have problems with the person. Yes, so your appearance is something that as an entry-level professional, you should be very mindful of, and it should really be based on where you find yourself. If you find yourself in a setting that requires some way of dressing, that is where you find yourself. You need to adhere to it. Let me give you an example. If you go to a mining site, there are prescribed attires that you have to wear. Even if you are the manager, you have to wear them. There are certain things you cannot wear. Even if you are the manager and you don't wear them, the security at the post will not allow you to enter. So the setting and the appearance really matters, just as the online presentation also matters. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Timothy, for your submission. We are glad to have Engineer Priscilla back. Engineer Priscilla, I would like to hear from you. What's the importance of self-presentation is, and also how does it shape entry-level employees, or how does it shape how people perceive entry-level employees?
Okay, all right. So I'll even start with this. You know, when we are going for your first interview and all that, you want to dress so nicely and very presentable. Why do you do that? If appearance is not so important, why would you go through the hassle of dressing and then wearing your top? Some people go to the extent of buying shirts and all that just for the interview. So it shows you how important presenting yourself at the first instance is, because once the initial impression of you is like, I don't know how to dress, I don't dress properly, that's it, you are done, you are out of the equation. For me, I'm an engineer now, but then I did my service with an HR company where we do interviews for companies and all that. And all these things come to bear. You cannot walk into an interview and then you are dressed anyhow. For me, if I'm sitting on the panel and then you walk into my interview room, you are disqualified because you are not taking us serious. That's the first impression I'm getting. It's like you don't take your work seriously, because why are you dressed like this if you're coming to a formal setting? And Engineer Timothy has said a lot, so I don't want to go through all that. I just want to say that being, you know, it's not about being perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the clothes on point, everything on point, and all that. It's about being intentional about what you are doing. And then for the online presence, I think we as professionals, we don't do well. We don't, show our work and all that. The informal sector is winning. We need to change the narrative. We need to come out there, put our good works there. Some of us are doing a lot of great stuff. We need to put it there for a lot of people to see and be encouraged, because you don't know what your work that you're putting out there will do for somebody. And then I think nowadays HR companies, when they are hiring for people, they go to your social media accounts to look at what you've been doing there. So please, let's take it seriously. We should not be posting anything online because we feel like, oh, that's the norm. We should never do that, because it will come back to come and hurt you in the long run. So please, let's be mindful of what we put in there, because most HR companies, when they are scouting for big people, when they are headhunting for people for their top organizations, they dig into your social media accounts. I think some nowadays they even ask for your social media handles. They are asking because they want to see what's going on there, and then they make a decision based on that. So let's be mindful of these things. First impressions count. That is why when you are going for interviews, you wear the best of the best, because you know that, oh, I want to dress like this so that when they see me, they will see that I'm a serious person. That is the same way you should live your life, because once you don't do that from the beginning, say there's an important conference or something coming up in your organization, and your manager is like, oh, I call it 100 CA, that's it. You will never get the opportunity again. No, that's it. You are done. So let us put it in our minds that once we are doing something, let's do it well, because you never know who is watching and then who can recommend you for something bigger in future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Priscilla, for your submission. You made mention that self-presentation is not about being perfect, but it's about being intentional about what we do, both online and physically. Thank you very much once again. We would like to hear from Mr. Emmanuel. What are some common mistakes young professionals make in how they present themselves and how they can correct them? So the common mistakes that young professionals make and how those mistakes can be corrected. Mr. Emmanuel, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Elisha. So, common mistakes that young professionals make, right? So, the first mistake I would say is on overemphasis on your technical skills. So, first of all, sure, technical skills is important. That is the reason why you got hired in the first place, and no one takes that away from you, because that's the core value you bring to whatever firm you are in. But then at the end of the day, you shouldn't just live in that sphere. That shouldn't be the end be all. You should learn to cultivate other skills, other soft skills that will enhance your progression throughout whatever company you may find yourself in. Because these days, being good at your job is not just enough. You need to add other values to whatever you bring to the company. Because let's say in considering promotions and the like, your technical count in one bracket. But then what would really set you aside is your people skills, your soft skills, that is to say. And you can even extrapolate it back into school, right? So being good in with your books is simply not good enough these days. you must try to add value to yourself. Add value to, because let me give you a classic scenario. So you might have two people going in for an interview, and one person might even be more technically sound than the other person. But then the other person has more better soft skills, knows how to really talk to people. And at the end of the day, that person might end up being chosen. Not all the time. But then that is to say that in every situation, if technical skills, for instance, are always a match, whatever you add on is what you bring to the table. So that is something I think you should not compromise on as an early professional in the workplace, right? And then another thing I would say is also lack of confidence. Lack of confidence, you being a young professional doesn't always have to mean you being humble. Being humble is good, of course, but then taking it to the extent that you are not expressing your ideas in meetings, may just expect you to say something, but you're always trying to play it safe. It can actually work to undermine your credibility. So, learning to practice assertive communication, maintaining eye contact, like all those things, they are very important. Trust me. Trust me. So, these are some of the things I would say. Another thing too would be something along the lines of having a lack of understanding of contextual understanding. So, failing to understand the nuances of different professional settings and audiences can sometimes lead to missteps. So, as a young professional, you should always try to develop some sort of situational awareness and adapt your communication style accordingly. Because at the end of the day, you've been able to understand specific context. You being in a meeting with, let's say, external people, knowing when is the right time to talk, not to talk out of 10, all those things are very important. So these are some of the things that I would say are common mistakes young professionals make, and they can generally follow some of these steps to help improve themselves. Yeah, so thank you, Elisha.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel. You made mention that overemphasis on our technical skills is one of the mistakes that young employees make. And you also mentioned that what will set us apart is our people skills and our soft skills. Thank you very much for that insight. We would like to hear from Engineer Priscilla Obeng. We want to hear, or you want an advice from you on how to manage relationships with difficult colleagues or navigating power dynamics with supervisors. What's your
Okay.
advice on managing relationships with difficult colleagues or navigating power dynamics with relationships? Well, thank you.
Okay, so difficult colleagues are everywhere. They are everywhere. We even have difficult classmates and all that. They are everywhere. And we should use emotional intelligence, strategy, and professionalism here. You cannot do away with them. They are part of us. And so once you encounter a difficult colleague, what you should do is that, especially if you are working in close contact with the person, just focus on the tasks or the activities that you are working on. And do not bring emotions into it. Separate the emotions from the work and do the work. Some colleagues or supervisors will term it as tough love. They are trying to build you up and then, you know, make you strong and all that. It is not easy because as an entry-level professional, you might not know the ins and outs of how to go about such situations. But then once you find yourself in such a situation, just try and manage your emotions. Just try as much as possible to separate your emotions from the work. Yes, the person has done this to hurt me. Let me do the work. After working, I will come to you and talk to you respectfully, assertively, that while we were doing, I appreciate your help in then doing this work, this task, in accomplishing this task. However, I don't appreciate the way you spoke to me, and I would like that you tone down a bit when you are talking to me. I don't like it when you shout at me or when you say this and that and that. Once you do that, the person respects you coming out to say that this and this and this, and then the person would actually work on it and not try to hurt your emotions or try and be difficult with you. And then when it comes to power dynamics with supervisors, as I stated earlier, you should know the person you are working with, especially if it's your colleague or your supervisor, because you cannot be understudy, you cannot be working with somebody and then for let's say 6 months to a year, you don't know how the person behaves. That is an error. That means you yourself, you are not paying too much attention to what you are doing. That's why I said you should be intentional about everything. Working in a corporate environment requires intentionality. You should be always intentional about things that you are doing. You are working with your supervisor. You should know how they behave during this time. During the morning, you should know how they behave. During the afternoon, you should know how they behave. You should know how to go. You should know when to go to them for certain discussions and whatnot. So it's very important to observe. There is power in observation, because for my boss like this, there are certain times that I will not go and talk about certain things with my boss because I know this is a bad time. And when I go, the response I'll get, I may not like it. So we should try as much as possible to understudy our supervisors and then try and observe them in various situations so that when we are going to them, we know that, okay, I can say this at this time, but I cannot say this at this time. And then when it comes to working with difficult colleagues, just try as much as possible to separate the emotions. We are humans. We will always offend each other. You cannot take it away. You will always offend somebody. Somebody will also offend you. But then we should all know that we are working towards the good, or we are working towards a common goal. And so we should try as much as possible to separate our emotions from the work. Once the work is done, if somebody hurt your feelings, go back. And if maybe you were trying to give an input and then the way the person shut it down, you didn't like it, go back respectfully and then just communicate your grievances and then you resolve the matter. Once you discuss the matter, that is it. Don't keep it in your head and come back at a later time and say it again. No. Just move on and then you go on with work and then everybody is happy and then everybody works together. And then if you feel like somebody's been too difficult, maybe you might probably not know how to approach the person. Or you know the people in your workplace that give you support, are always supporting you, are always encouraging you. You can fall on them, go to them and then discuss it with them. Oh, so and so is what happened and I don't know how to go about it. Can you advise me? The person may give you some, 1 or 2 points, then you think about it and then you just go for the best possible option, right? So thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Priscilla, for your submission. You mentioned that we should learn to separate emotions from work. And that's very, very important. You also mentioned that we should know the kind of bosses we work with. We should learn to know our bosses. We should learn to know the people we work with so that we know how to approach them. Thank you very much once again, Engineer Priscilla. We would like to hear from Engineer Timothy. How can new professionals build trust and credibility with their peers without overstepping or trying to prove themselves too much? How can professionals build, new professionals, how can new professionals build trust and credibility with their peers without overstepping or trying to prove themselves too much? Engineer Timothy, the floor is yours.
Okay. Trust and credibility are about showing competence. One. Two is reliability. And then 3 is humility. So if you want to build trust, if you want to build credibility, these 3 things are very key. You need to be competent, and in the delivery of your task, you need to be humble and also reliable. Yeah. So you can build credibility and trust, and without proving you are the smartest in the room. Yes, because doing that would kind of create an unhealthy competition between you and your peers. Yes, and then you need to be reliable in the form of being dependable, where your peers can fall on if there is a task that they are having difficulty with. They can easily fall on you for assistance. And also you need to be respectful and then approachable and engaged with. So you have to respect, because most of us might be millennials, or let's say Gen Zs, coming up into a work environment where somebody has been there for a long period, and because we were privileged to maybe do our degree or masters, we find ourselves in a position where we are their superiors. But one thing that I always talk about is we are humans first before everything. Yes. So being respectful in your workplace is very, very important if you want to build trust and credibility. And you shouldn't be the kind that will be blowing your own trumpet. Let your output speak for you. Yes, and with that, your colleagues, your peers, they can trust you and then build that credibility in you naturally. I have some few points that I noted for how you can do that, and one of them is meeting deadlines and communicating if delays arise. This has to do with between you and your supervisor or superior. If you are giving deadlines, as reasonable as it is, the moment you accept that you're going to deliver within that stipulated time, make sure that you meet that deadline. And even if there is an unforeseen circumstance that causes some delays, don't wait and make the person come to you to demand before you try to explain yourself that, oh, I had this, that. No. Immediately you realize that there is a glitch somewhere, and then you will not be able to meet that deadline. Communicate. Tell the person, oh, I was supposed to deliver at this time, but because of this and that, I would need some time off for some additional time before I can meet the deadline. That is very, very important. And then you must show that you are eager to learn and not to outshine. These competitions that usually arise in our workplace are usually unhealthy, because at the end of the day, it's a common goal that we all want to achieve. If there's a client that we are supposed to deliver to, that is it. we are delivering in the name of the institution we work with, not in our individual names. So if you want to always outshine your colleagues, you can get to a point where they will even have some motives, or let's say evil plans against you, just because you always want to show that, yeah, you are the smartest in the room and you are the one who is able to do this, do that. No, it's very, very unnecessary. So you have to show that you are eager to learn and not to outshine. Whilst even if you have the upper hand over your colleagues, you should try and then build everybody up to where you are. And another point is listening to how things are done and respecting existing workflows, and also speaking up when appropriate and not challenging everything. You came to the institution to meet how they do things. You can have issues with how they do it, the workflow and all that. But mind you, this is what they have been doing consistently over time, and it has been giving them the results that they want. And through that, they are still relevant for you to be employed to also come and work there. So if you come and just challenge everything that they do, that why do you always do this way? Why are you doing this way? You should do it this way, you should do it that way. Then you will get to a point where they will be looking at you differently, and your trust and credibility will be shaken, because if company culture is such that we do things this way and you are always challenging, we can't trust you to uphold on to what the culture that we have. I don't know if you actually get me. And speaking up when appropriate is very, very important. Yes, it's an existing workflow. It has been yielding results. But if you have an idea of how it can be improved for the efficiency, and then its effectiveness to be maximized in a very good way, you can respectfully put it across, discuss with whoever is in charge with some of these workflows, and then put out your plan. If it's accepted, fine. If it's not accepted, if you get the opportunity to rise to that position, then you can implement it. But you shouldn't be going around challenging everything that you came to meet, and then offering to help without needing credit. If you go to, let's say you have a peer or a colleague who is struggling with something, and you go and help the person out, the person was supposed to deliver that task. So you shouldn't go about telling people, oh, this person, this task that he presented to our boss for him to be recommended and all that. And me, I do am. No, you can't be doing that to your colleagues. If the person gives you the credit, fine. If he doesn't, it's a culture that you have to develop. You try to offer help without needing credit for that. And also, lastly, admitting mistakes promptly and correcting them. If you mess up, own it. Admit that I've messed up. Yes, admit your mistakes promptly. Don't try to defend before you get to a point where you are not able to defend again before you try. Oh, okay, so if you say I do, then I do. No. Try as much as possible that if you mess up, own it, and don't just end there. Correct it. Look for ways and means to correct it, and also learn from that mistake so that you don't repeat it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Timothy, for your submission. You made mention that we should be reliable, we should be competent, and we should be humble. And you concluded by saying that if we mess up, we should own up. We shouldn't spend so much time trying to defend ourselves. Thank you so much once again, Engineer Timothy. Our time is fast spent, so let's try and summarize in the remaining submissions we will make. We want to hear from Mr. Emmanuel. We want to know, when it is appropriate for a junior staff to speak up, suggest an idea, or ask for help, and how can they do it respectfully? When is it appropriate for a junior staff to speak up, or suggest an idea, or ask for help, and how can they do it appropriately?
All right, thank you, Elisha. So, first off, I'd like to say speaking up is very important, especially as a young professional, because you, as a young professional, sometimes you bring, how I would say, a fresh perspective to the scene. So you might have a point of view that can actually be useful, because people in your firm, they might have a way of seeing things. They're already acclimatized to it. There isn't much incentive to change after a long time, and that is a natural thing. But you being a fresh face, you can actually be capable of bringing out an angle that everybody might not be seeing, and that can be helpful. So speaking up is never a bad thing, but then of course you should do it respectfully, choosing the right time and place to bring up ideas, very important, all part of your emotional intelligence. For instance, considering the timing and setting with which you share ideas, or ask those sort of bring those sort of fresh perspectives. So for example, you can measure your approach and not, let's say, do it in front of a client, for instance, that is a third party. So you might have a fresh perspective, but then it would be better to just introduce that perspective within the confines of just you and your internal firm, such that if your perspective turns out not to be a new discovery, and then it's just something that you perhaps didn't know the answer to, then any sort of unfortunate circumstance is sort of nipped in the bud. So with that being said, speaking up is also not just about ideas, but then speaking up to, you can do that in a form of asking for help, right? So in doing that, you should try to maybe ask from a trusted mentor, someone who is higher up than you that you trust. You can speak to them about your issue, and they'll probably give you an advice on how to go about it with regards, or maybe your firm has a policy on it. My firm, for instance, we are big on speaking up culture. So you might have a set of speaking up procedures, or lay down procedures that are geared in a way that will not bring you any retaliation. So I think speaking up as a junior staff member is very important, something that you should learn to do. Thank you, Elisha. Trying to keep it brief here.
Yes, please. Thank you very much, Mr. Timothy. Yes, our time is fast spent, and we are glad you kept us brief. Thank you so much. I would like to take your last submission before the questions and answer session. We want to know from all of you the advice for your entry-level self, factoring everything you have come to learn so far. So what is the advice you would have given your entry-level self, or the advice you will give your entry-level self, taking into considerations all those things you have learned so far? I would like to start with Engineer Priscilla. Please, the floor is yours.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Elisha. So I'd like to say that confidence comes with the doing. It comes with the practice. Once you are beginning, you will not know everything. I don't know everything, and that is okay. It's very okay. We practice being confident, and then you don't have to feel confident. You have to practice it, and it's a continuous effort. So don't worry, don't feel bad if you think you're not confident enough. Always try as much as possible to practice it. Once you have a small meeting, try and voice out your opinions and all that. You can start from somewhere. You have to practice. And the second thing I'll say is that we should invest in soft skills. I think Emmanuel mentioned that. Is Emmanuel, right? Yeah, Emmanuel. The technical skills will get you the job, but then it's the soft skills, how to manage your emotions, how to prioritize, how to communicate respectfully. That is what will take you forward. I'm telling you. The technical skills, it will, yeah, you know the job. Okay, that's fine. But your character, if you don't have a good character, trust me, you will remain there. It's as simple as that. And the last thing I would like to say is that every experience teaches you something. From working with a tough boss, to a tough team, to a lazy colleague, everything teaches you something. So you should be wise and smart enough to learn something from each of those experiences. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Priscilla, for that wonderful advice. You said we should practice confidence. Confidence comes by practicing. And you also mentioned that every experience teaches us something. Therefore, we should take the opportunity to learn from all those experiences we have gone through or we are going through. Thank you very much once again for advice. We would like to hear from Mr. Emmanuel. What's the advice you would give your younger self or your entry-level self, considering all those experiences you have had so far? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Elisha. So, what I would like to say is, first of all, is to be open-minded, right? Because being open-minded is a key to opening many doors that you may not even think are doors. Being open-minded, continuing to ask questions, trying to understand the process behind why certain things are done would lead you to reach your answer faster. Like you might not appreciate a certain process that is carried out in your firm, how you do your things. But then you being open-minded, asking questions and all that would help you a lot. Trust me. And another thing that I would also say is be willing to sacrifice. Because honestly, as a young professional, depending on the kind of firm you find yourself in, you might have to, and there's a point Priscilla mentioned earlier on about having to work on weekends sometimes, having to go the extra mile. Because at the end of the day, if you close from your 8 to 5, but then there's something that you have to deliver, and by the following day or week or something, you have to deliver that thing. You must be willing to go the extra mile, because at the end of the day, it pays to, let me say, not to the extent of you trying to overwork yourself, of course. But then at the end of the day, you should try to always make sure that whatever expectations that your company has of you, you should absolutely try to meet them. And if you can exceed them too, you should definitely give that a go. So that is what I would like to say. Thank you, Elisha.
Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel, for your kind advice. You mentioned that we should be open-minded and ready to ask questions. Thank you once again. We would like to hear from Engineer Timothy. Engineer Timothy, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Elisha. I would like to start from where Priscilla ended, where she made mention of technical skills getting you the job, but soft skills determining your growth and your success. Yes, indeed. Today's workplace demands more than expertise and technical skills. It demands the ability to work well with others, adapt, communicate, stay organized, and all those soft skills that are we've mentioned here. Some of the advice that I would give is you need to start with humility and then stay curious. Yes, to learn. And in executing your task, focus on building relationships too, and not just a resume. Yeah. And you don't have to be extraordinary. You don't have to wow people every day. You just have to be reliable, show up, meet deadlines, take feedbacks well, do your work, just do your work consistently. Yes, and over time, everything will sum up to build your reputation. Yeah, and you need to learn to balance being helpful with protecting your time, your energy, and then holding on to your ethics also. And I've already mentioned that you will make errors. Everyone does. The key is to own them, correct them, and then also learn from them. And one essential thing that has really helped me personally is the keeping records of what I have achieved and what you've learned and how you are growing. You need to keep records of them. At times, go back, read through, hey, I've done this, I've done that. Oh, I've been able to do this through my consistent work. Oh, that's good. Yes, you need to celebrate small wins and milestones. Charlie, there's a lot of pressure in the system. So if you're able to win something small, at least feel proud about it and celebrate. Yes, but don't let them get into your head, of course. But those things are very important and they boost your confidence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Timothy. You mentioned that we should try to build networks and connections and not just a resume or CV. Thank you very much for this wonderful advice. Please, our time is almost up. However, we have to take some questions. So the time has come for questions. If you have any question, please kindly put up your hand and then I recognize you duly. Please, the time to ask questions. Thank you. So if you have any question that you want to ask, or if you want to get clarification on some of the things that our guest speakers have told us, please, the time is due for you to ask your question. Yes, Nafiu Mohammed, your hand is up. You can speak now.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Please, I would like to ask one individual who is about leaving school, is it best to choose industry over academia? As in, maybe you have the opportunity to be a teaching assistant, and you also want to have some experience in the industry. Please, which one will you advise the person to take? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Nafiu Mohammed. Please, our guest speakers, any of us can answer if you want to answer.
Okay, Mohammed, I will start with the answer with a question. What do you want for yourself? That's the first question I'll ask you. Because it's your plan that should inform your path. do you want to stay in the academia or do you want to be an industry person? You need to answer that question first before you can choose whether to go into industry or academia. Yes. So what would work for me would be different from what would work for you. So advising you to go into industry over academia or go into academia over industry would be difficult. You have to know what you want for yourself, and then through that you be able to make that decision. Because industry for instance, is about work, continuous learning on the job and all that. And academia, if you want to see yourself in the academic industry where you probably become a researcher or a lecturer or those, that's when your focus would be more on academia. Apart from that, then it means you are looking into the industry where you want to contribute knowledge by solving problems and all that. Yes. So it depends on what you want for yourself. If you want to see yourself in the next few years being an industry expert, then it means you should right away look for a place in the industry to start. And then if you want to be in the academic world, then it means that right from school, you should be focusing on academia too. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I would like to also give my 2 cents. So you see, that's how come you have the opportunity to do your national service. And so when you're doing your national service, you should be intentional about certain things. If you want, you have 1 whole year to decide, okay, do I want to, after service, do I want to go back to school? Or probably maybe you just want to do your master's and come back and come and work. What you do is that some people are privileged to have organizations where when they do their national service in 1 year of work, the organization can give them the opportunity to go and then come back to that organization and work with them. But then the challenge most people don't tell us is that from school, if you decide to go straight and go and do your master's and come back, when you come back, probably maybe your friend who didn't go and do his or her master's decided to work for the 2 years. And so when you come back from doing your master's, are you trying to say they should hire you who has no experience? It's something that they don't talk about, but it happens. So you even get a lot of people who have masters and then they don't have jobs to do because they don't have any experience. That is why when you're in school, the internships that you do and all those things are work experiences. But then when we are in school, they don't tell us the gravity and the intentionality that we have to attach to these things. Because it was after school that we realized that, oh, I should have taken these internships very serious. Because say you've been going to school for 4 years, and let's say after every vacation you do internship. By the time you finish school, you may have 1 year or even maybe 2 years experience of work experience already there. Before the national service is the national service that's 3 years. So we should be very, very intentional. I wouldn't say go and do your master's or continue to work. As Timothy said, you should know yourself. Oh, do I want to go into academia or do I want to do industry? Even in the industry, it's good to learn, as we say, to learn and learn and learn. So maybe you are working in an organization and you want to do your master's, you want to do a PhD. You talk to the organization. Some organizations have flexible terms and conditions. They can let you go and come back. Some organizations will also let you go, and then they won't hire you when you come back because probably somebody has taken your place. So you need to really think about all these things and then know what you think would work for you and then go for it. Some people work and still go to school. So all these things you need to think about them and then decide for yourself. Right. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Priscilla, for doing justice to that question as well. Our time is fast spent, so we want to call it a day at this point. And then there are no further questions. There are no further questions, so we want to call it a day at this point. I would like to humbly thank our guest speakers for availing themselves and giving us this great insight as far as the workplace is concerned. Yes, there's a hand up. Hey, there are two hands up. Please, our time is fast and we are about 6 minutes behind time, or we are 6 minutes behind time. So please.
It's 12 minutes.
We are supposed to close at 6:05. So please, Peter Desmond, just summarize the question and then let's move on.
Okay, so please, I want to know how you can balance your soft skills with your technical skills, because you said that having one is not enough. Having the technical skills, when you get to the job, but will not take you far. So how do you then balance these two in your life and be able to improve on these two too? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for the question. Please, our guest speakers, any of us could answer.
Yes, I think I'll take that.
Okay.
So, how to balance your soft skills with your technical skills, right? So, you identify that you are good when it comes to your technical, so you need to work on your soft skills, which is the deficient side. So, in doing so, you have to be very intentional about the way you approach this. So, you can help, let's say, with your friends, right? You can sort of set up mock interviews or something, your close friends that you are with who are open to that idea. You can do those kind of things. There are a lot of resources out there. There's YouTube resources. So that would help you cultivate those sorts of soft skills that you need. And of course, practicing them is very important and help you overall with getting, let's say, good confidence when it comes to interviews, because you're not just going to get up one day and have all those skills. You have to be intentional about it, intentional about the way you approach it, intentional about the kind of things, the sort of experiences that would lead you to have that sort of confidence. So you can start from today, maybe give yourself a challenge to try an activity that involves speaking out or something of that sort. And over time, you'll be amazed at how much you'll be able to grow. So that's my submission.
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Timothy. I hope your question is answered. So at this point, we would like to say a very big thank you to our guest speakers. Engineer Timothy, please, thank you very much for availing yourself to be here and to give us this great insight. Engineer Priscilla, may God bless you. Thank you so much for availing yourself. And Mr. Emmanuel, God bless you for coming. We are grateful. We are grateful. And I would like to also especially thank the Registrar of School of Medical Sciences, Mr. Christopher Ado, for availing yourself. Thank you so much. Mr. Ado is the former registrar at the e-learning center here in UST. Currently, he is the School of Medical Sciences registrar. And I would like to also thank Ms. Anita Banafo, a staff at the e-learning center, and Mr. Dylan Harold, also a staff at the e-learning center. Thank you very much, participants. We are grateful for your presence this evening, and I believe you have learned a lot. Personally, I've learned a lot. I've learned so much, and I believe you have done same. Thank you so much. So, announcements. Tomorrow there wouldn't be a session. However, there will be a session on Wednesday, and we are going to discuss e-portfolio development. So tomorrow there wouldn't be a session. There will be a session on Wednesday on portfolio development. So kindly avail yourself to be present on Wednesday. Also, there's an assignment in the classroom. Yeah, so kindly do the needful by going to the classroom and then doing the assignments. Thank you very much once again. Please, the assignment is very important. Make sure you do the assignment. It's very, very important. But kindly do that. And we'll meet you on Wednesday for the discussion on e-portfolio development. And God bless everyone. Bye-bye.